Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. This is the Papa Joe Show, the Papa Joe Show, where Papa Joe knows. I'm your host, Papa Joe. Sorry, I clearly need a little more coffee today. But anyways, yeah, thanks for being here. It is very appreciated. I love the fact that you guys are here and already jumping into the chat here. We got Bitcoin Country. Good morning to you as well. My mouse is irritatingly not working the way I need it to, so sorry about that. Morning, Tom, and good morning, Jim, Bitcoin Management Jim. You guys are always here. Much appreciated, as always. Do me a favor, smash the likes. You got 3 people, it looks like, right now. I don't know how many actually listening or watching, but smash the likes. Later on, if you're listening to it later, smash the likes. Do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Share it out on your socials. Help me grow the channel. That is really uh, uh, a goal right now is to try and get the channel to grow. So the subscribers make a huge difference. Um, Also, if you feel like hearing Papa Joe unfiltered, I have by the way, Patreon show that I do every day. It's $5 a month. I really wish I didn't have to do that. We're just trying to get in there and have the ability to speak without being concerned about being taken offline, if you know what I mean. So it is an amazing Tuesday morning. Lots of stuff happening out there. Good morning, Kim. Thanks for jumping in. Much appreciated. It's a fun day for sure. Anyways, so as we have kind of seen a few things. Good morning, Rick. Good morning. Glad you are here, sir. Um, yeah. So kind of jump right in here. As I got a meeting immediately following this, so always back to back to back right now with everything, which is not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing. Got a lot going on. Some of you guys know. It's gonna be an interesting next couple of weeks for me, from a business perspective, from a work perspective, from my shows. I mean, got clients for this evening, all kinds of fun stuff as well. What's going on, Trini Man? What's going on, man? Thanks for jumping in here. It's always amazing. You guys are awesome. It means a lot to me to have you here. But anyways, so you know how I jumped. You guys probably scratch your head why I would share it. Yes, the other day, yesterday. I don't remember what it was. Probably yesterday. I don't remember now. I think it was yesterday. About Senor Dorky. You guys know who I'm talking about. Talking about hyperinflation coming. Well, guess who jumped on the bandwagon with that? Elon Musk warns of strong inflationary pressure as Tesla mulls Bitcoin payments. Well, yeah, they jumped on this tweet. I think Michael Saylor even jumped on this tweet as well. Yeah, they did right here. I don't know about long term, but short term, we're going to see strong inflation pressure. He said in a tweet debating with ARK Invest CEO Kathy Wood and MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor. It's an interesting conversation. They were all commenting on a previous tweet from Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey. You know what I mean? Basically, that it's going to cause a major problem in inflation. The tech CEOs know this. The hedge funds know this. We are headed towards a major issue when it comes to our inflationary. Tom, yeah, his company is worth more than $1 trillion now. It's amazing to think about. You know, Tesla has some piece to play in this. I don't really know what it is yet. I wonder if they have access to. I wonder if they have access to things that we don't have access yet, and they're going to be part of the release of that technology. I think we may end up yet seeing some things come out of that. There's a reason why some of these people are involved in the way they are. It just kind of makes you wonder, it makes you wonder. When you have that kind of value in your company, if you think you have that kind of understand, like you have all the toys, then what do? You go explore space, you go do all these things. Yeah, well, there's some stuff that I think we will see that is going to be pretty cool. I've seen some cool technology. Think about, oh, where did it go? Maybe it's right here. Well, whatever. Think about having a power source the size of a golf ball in your house, in your neighbor's house, in everyone's house, in your car, in your truck, in a box that's attached to your camper, whatever. That power source basically can give you indefinite energy to use for wherever you're at. That kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. Yes, we have that kind of capability. Some stuff that I've seen. Can't tell you how, can't tell you where. But I have seen some interesting documentation, things like that around technology that we have yet to see. And it makes sense to me that an electric car company owner may have access to that kind of technology to put into their vehicles at some point in the future. I don't know. It's just a thought, just thinking out loud. Just kind of wondering. Some of that technology would be pretty cool to see. No, I'm not talking about, Ben and I talked about thorium and thorium reactors at one of the shows that he and I did, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something entirely different, and I don't know what it's called. But anyways, maybe we'll get more into that sci-fi world like Cliff High was talking about, where the energy is there. Doesn't matter. It's everywhere. If Nikola Tesla's patent around the energy, the electricity, and the power and the space between space, or in the ether, not Ethereum, but in the ether. So kind of get scientific here for a second. From a physics perspective, we have atoms, and then you have space between those atoms, and then in that space there is an infinite number or infinite amount of energy. Because what's really cool is the way that God created all this is that if you appropriately tapped into that energy, you are not going to suck it out of it, because by using that energy, it puts it back. It's kind of weird how it works. Think about it kind of like a water turbine that's creating electricity. The water's flowing through that turbine, spinning the turbine, creating electricity, but it's coming out the other side and it's continuing doing what it's doing. That's kind of the similarity around how that energy, that space between space, or the ether, and the energy that's in there. You'll use it and you'll put it back. It's kind of really interesting how that was just how God created it, right? You could actually end up having your air travel being completely fuelless, and you could effectively run through the air, pulling the electricity out of the air, kind of thing. Lots of amazing stuff that could take place. Really, really cool. Anyways, that was a squirrel. But it's interesting to see the inflation. Dorky talked about hyperinflation. Elon's talking about strong inflation. MicroStrategy's jumping in the conversation. Kathy Wood's jumping in the conversation. We are going to see serious runs in crypto because people are looking for a way to protect themselves. And Elon's looking at a way. That was a fun squirrel. Davy Daddy, I have to tell you about it sometime. You and I hang out from time to time. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, they probably are, actually, Tom. I heard the military is already using Tesla's free energy. I could see that. Technically, you could, well, realistically, if you knew what you were doing with coils, you could do the same thing. It's not like it's difficult. Actually, my son and I talked about doing something like that as a science project when he gets a little bit older. He could probably do it now, but where you take a coil, you take a bucket of sand, and you have a pole coming out of it, and you coil it around. And there's a lot of really cool stuff. And you basically put the coil on the bottom, and you could effectively pull 12 electricity right out of the air. But we could talk about that another time. Anyways. So, let's move on here. I can go all day on that kind of stuff. It really, really fascinates me. A lot of stuff I've dug into and seen. It would be really, really cool for humanity if that technology is ever released. I know it exists because Tesla at one point built a car using an antenna, and I'm pretty sure it was some sort of frequency device that he would, as he mashed on the pedal, the frequency would increase, but it would pull that electricity, that energy out of the air, and power an electric motor. There were no batteries on board. There was nothing else. It was literally just an electric motor that would power itself from that ether. Pretty crazy stuff. Pretty crazy stuff. Good morning, Gloria. Good morning, Timothy. Glad you guys are here. This is awesome stuff. Thanks for jumping in. Much appreciated. Oh, Sonia. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Anyways, I digress. Maybe I should do something about that kind of stuff on my Patreon. Maybe you guys get a little teaser for later. Maybe I can dig up some stuff for that. So, but anyways. No. All right, cool. So, Bitcoin bull market. So the second leg is starting, says the Bitcoin price model creator. So this is Plan B. Cointelegraph actually pulled out information around Plan B. Plan B on Twitter does these really, really, really nice charts. For those of you who are into the charting, Timothy, I know you are. You take a look at this Plan B on Twitter. Those of you who know who he is or they are, they really have been pretty accurate with the stock to flow model. Effectively putting the price projection with the model insists, according to history, right, that Bitcoin's value will keep going. It'll keep growing until it hits approximately 288,000 per token due to the halving. So after each halving, there's a percentage gain, and then there is a price that associates with that based off of after the halving. So that's after the supply has been cut, right? So it really is been very accurate, actually. What is he right here coming into 2022 at $100,000 mark? Their predictions that Bitcoin will be between $100,000 and $135,000 by December, by the end of December. So they're actually, Plan B is noting earlier this year that Bitcoin will reach $98,000 by November and $135,000 by December. I'm calling the ends of those months. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not. Nobody really does. But the stock to flow model typically isn't wrong on stuff like this. It's simply looking at the blockchain data. That's where he's getting his information from. He's not looking at all of the myriads of exchanges out there. He's looking at the blockchain data, right? This is what's different about cryptocurrency. And the conversation with a friend of mine here past couple of days, and I kind of told you guys about that, where you have the blockchain and the company that's building the blockchain is the investment, right? Well, what's different is you're buying stocks in that company or Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Or really not Bitcoin. Bitcoin's an anomaly in and of itself. Bitcoin is software that's riding on the blockchain, which is its hardware. Ethereum is a generalized blockchain where you have the blockchain, which is the hardware, and then you have the software, which is what you and I can build in smart contracts, things like that. So when you look at blockchain, the data that's on the blockchain, the transactions that are on the blockchain, you can see and create the stock to flow model against that, which is what this guy's done. And it's very hard to refute the information that's there. So, they talk about an 80% retracement. That's typically what we've seen in the past, and it could potentially happen. Cliff High talks about that happening. I'm not necessarily, I'm on the fence with that. I'm going to, let's wait to see what happens. And the reason I say that is because when you get to above $200,000, the market cap will be in the multiple trillions. And when someone decides to drop $100 billion off the cliff, take their profits, they won't really move the market very much. It'll move down a little bit, but it won't really move very much. And the difference here is that once we get to these price levels, and I've said this before, when we hit $100,000, that's this jump point. That's this spring point where people will look at this as a valid store of value and they will jump in and pile in hard. This By the way, the $288,000, the 330 or $135,000 in December, those numbers are very, very, very conservative. And the reason I say that is because he is not accounting for FOMO, for fear of missing out. Okay, he's not accounting for that at all. He's just looking at the raw data, and if nothing else happens, if the price will just continue to move to where it's going to move. That being said, all of this could be wrong, but these are things to kind of keep your thumb on, keep your pulse on, keep your finger on. Give that guy a follow on Twitter, Plan B. He does post often with really, really relevant, very, very nice information that is helpful to kind of know where things are heading. So I want to use this next one as an example because you have the stock to flow market or information. That's without the FOMO. Okay. Now, this is something that's different this time than the last two halvings. Three halving, whatever. We'll go with the last two, right? Because enough people knew with the last two here. So I want to point out that's different this time as it was last time is that there are people like myself, people like most of you, who are holding crypto, specifically Bitcoin, that are not going to sell it. That are not going to let it go. They're not going to allow the whatever you want to call them to have any more control over our lives any more than we need to. I will lend mine out. You can take loans against them, use them as collateral. It's very, very crazy how cool you can do that kind of stuff. Some of my friends, those of you who are actually here listening, you've done that and you know how it works. It's really, really fascinating that we can do that kind of stuff with our cryptocurrency. People don't really realize that yet. You are capable of doing that now. But this next example is to show what happens when you have no liquidity. Okay. FXS is a coin. I don't know anything about it, but I'm trying to use this as an example, okay? Not pushing this, not saying anything about it, but whatever. It surges 80% on supply squeeze, okay? Effectively, it's jumped up 80% in the last 24 hours simply because the demand rose a little bit and there is no liquidity, and people will pay massive money for things that they want whenever it comes to buying crypto. The analysts added that 75% of all circulating FXS is locked away for an average of just over a year. The circulating supply is heavily locked as whatever the company is it's set up. So you understand. If you look at what happens when the supply decreases and the demand is there, or if the supply stays the same or decreases and the demand stays the same and or increases, you're going to see a massive run. So not only do we have the stock to flow saying, yes, after the halving, we're approximately going to be 288,000, 335,000, 100,000, somewhere in that ballpark. That's not including the FOMO. Think about how people like me, we're not selling our crypto at those prices. Like I said, I'll take a loan on it. And then I will take the dirty fiat and do what I want to do and then come back and get my crypto back. It's not that big of a deal. Okay? You need to understand, we have the capability to do this right now, and what's going to end up happening is it's going to cause that squeeze. The liquidity is going to shrink. It's going to shrink. You're going to have the massive demand with the FOMO that comes in when it hits $100,000, and there's not going to be anything for them to buy. And the price, guys, you could set your prices, write your own check. Legitimately, that is what's coming. Not trying to sit here and be all rainbows and unicorns and happy-go-lucky, whatever. It very well could pop and have that crash. Cliff High does talk about it, and usually his data, he's actually going off of data. There's no emotion with that information. It's all data. Right, Divvy Daddy. Never sell. Always leverage against your assets. Do or do what the wealthy do. That's exactly what they do. They take their assets and they leverage them. They use the money that they leverage and they continue to maintain their assets. Smart thing to do. All right, so a little jump here. Trump talks about with his new, I guess you could say, his Trump Media and Technology Group, that they're going to try to do a thing where they have web services and payment processing that cannot be stopped. What's that sound like to you? He's been against Bitcoin openly, and we all know that. What's he doing? Is the world going to receive it? They're going to accept it? What's he building? I guess we'll find out. But the adoption's here, folks. When this dude is building something, and I'm reading between the lines here. You have a payment processing system that can't be stopped. That's blockchain, guys. That's blockchain. And I know some of the people around him are talking about blockchain technology, not necessarily Bitcoin, but blockchain technology. Maybe they'll build the means of exchange where Bitcoin is still going to be the store of value, and these other cryptocurrencies are still going to be the store of value. I don't know. It could be something like that. Who knows? We'll find out, though, at some point. I also thought this was interesting. Just want to share this with you guys real quick here as well. That someone is selling a Trump NFT. They're selling it for 240 Ethereum, so about $1 million. Guys, NFT space is something else. The art, I get it. It's fun. It's testing. NFTs is going to be how we buy and sell homes in the future. And I have thoughts on that and how we could go do that. I just need people to help me build it. We can make it happen. It'd be kind of fun. Rick, could Trump be building America 2.0 behind the scenes? That's a Patreon question for me to answer on Patreon. I will answer that on Patreon. So jump in there this afternoon, 4:30 Eastern. Ask it again. And hopefully I can curtail that conversation around some of this stuff. So yeah, if you want to jump in, there's scroll in the bottom of the screen, the links in the description. Just pop in there and we can have some fun conversations. A lot of times it's very laid back and more conversation led from you guys at the same time. I do have sometimes I'll have pointed information around different subjects. So last thing I kind of wanted to cover. And I'm going to bump this up here real quick. Wow, that was way too much, Papa Joe. Way too much. All right, so those of you who know, I've talked about Ethereum. I'm sorry, not Ethereum. Matic. They are a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So when I say a layer 2, so a lot of people kind of go, what is the layers? Confusion on that, maybe a little bit. Okay, you have a blockchain. All right. Blockchain, think about a blockchain being a laptop, a computer that doesn't have an operating system on it, doesn't have any other software on it. It's just the computer. It's the hardware. Okay. Because blockchain is technically hardware because it's different computers around the world working individually and in concert with one another. They act as one and they're also individual for themselves. Think about blockchain being the computer. All right. Okay. Think about so let's use Ethereum as the example. Okay. Ethereum is layer 1. They are the blockchain. They are the hardware. Matic would be a layer 2. What that would mean is that's the operating system. That is how you, the individual, get to build inside of that blockchain. That is how you get to use that operating system to interact with that hardware. Okay. You get the mouse, you get the keyboard, and you can communicate with that blockchain and build things, right? So that's Ethereum. You have smart contracts and distributed applications. They're the same thing, but that's 2 different names for the same thing. They can be anything. You can run an entire business inside of a smart contract and never have to touch it again. I know people who've done that. I digress. Now, think about the analogy here, right? You've got the laptop, which is the Ethereum blockchain, you've got the operating system, which is something like Matic. Okay, Matic allows you allows an interface between you and that blockchain. It also allows that interface between other blockchains. So it gives that chain of chains and that blockchain of blockchains the capability for those other chains to communicate with the Ethereum blockchain and vice versa. Matic in and of itself also has its own blockchain. They have launched their own blockchain, I think. Keep me honest on that. I thought they did. I thought they set up their mainnet. Anyways, my point in bringing up Matic is that they've gone out and they've figured out Ethereum. You're trying to do 2.0. You need this integration point. You need this layer 2 to where other blockchains can work with your blockchain without actually building on top of your blockchain. That's a huge win for everybody. Basically, they're filling that gap. They've solved a real world problem when it comes to blockchains, and they're doing a fantastic job with it. Matic is a big deal. Matic has been running for a long time, and I'm going to go to the day chart and run for you guys to see its overall. What it started back. I'll close this. It started back. Come on. It was in 2020. No, it wasn't really. Was it really? No. No, it went way back before that. So it was because I got it below this point. Anyways, overall, its price is actually pretty beautiful. Those charts are pretty nice. Just so you understand, from a usability perspective, they're meeting Ethereum where they need to be met. They're solving problems where they need to solve the problems, and they're fixing things for the Ethereum. Find that's how I try to obtain projects or invest in projects, as I look for something that's building something for the real world, something that is solving a problem for the real world. And Matic has done that. Matic is the ticker that's been rebranded as Polygon. They have validators. You can obtain coins. You can stake them in the validators. You can earn effectively a residual income from it if you were smart about it. Definitely one of my more favorite coins, not necessarily from its price point, but that's fantastic. But I really like what they're doing with their project. I like how they're solving a real world problem. And the same way I like Ambrosis, the same thing. They're solving a real world problem. Okay. There's a couple other ones out there that are going to solve, like Civilization. I kind of got my finger on that one right now, just kind of paying attention to it. If they're successful in building what they're going to build, or they say they're going to build, then they will really solve a real world problem. And I think that you guys, when you look at these things, this is how you should look at them. Now, everything I say on my channel, this is not financial advice. This is not tax advice, not legal advice. Please do your own research. And do me a favor, look at this as entertainment and or educational purposes only. These are some things, as in my tenure in this space, as what I have done with it. So I have learned, don't just go jump on the next new whatever Doge stupid idiot coins. I mean, I hate Doge. I hate Doge. Only there are 9 wallets in the world, guys. 9 wallets that hold like more than 80%. I know the number's high. That more than 80% of all of the available Doge. Do you really want to be involved in something where someone could just drop the price to 0? I mean, come on. Yes, Rick. Thank you, sir. Y'all smash those likes, subscribe to the channel, and share it out in your socials. Help me grow the channel. Those little 3 things actually make a big difference in growing the channel. But anyways, look for projects, okay, that solve real world problems. There are supply chain platforms out there. I don't remember off the top of my head which one it is. They're solving a real world problem. They're taking a blockchain and smart contracts, and they're meeting the truckers where they are, and they're getting them work through blockchain, through crypto. Whoa, that's a big deal, okay? There's lots of real things like that out there. Don't go jump on the stupid Stupid coins. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, you may make some money in fiat. Fine, do whatever, but be careful. All right. These other ones, you're looking for an investment type thing. That's something to kind of look into. But anyways, I digress. I am now officially late for my next meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. You guys have a wonderful and blessed day. Join the Patreon this afternoon, 4:30. I'll have a nice show. And oh yeah, I forgot about something else. You know what? Never mind. I'll save that for later. Just a little teaser. Join the Patreon, 4:30 at Eastern, and let's have a fun, wonderful afternoon. You guys be blessed.